So for today's Try It Tuesday, I'm going to try working with some Nuvo Drops, and I hope that you'll play along with me. So pull out your Nuvo Drops and let's see what we can do with them. There are some different names. So there's some crystal drops. I have a lot of crystal drops. Apparently I like those. There's also the jewel drops. Main difference is the jewel drops are translucent, where the crystal ones tend to be more opaque. There's the dream drops. They're a little iridescent, which is really nice. And then there's fluorescent, and there is glitter drops. There's a whole array and lots of colors within each type of drops. So I thought today I'll show you just a few different ways that you can use this. Of course, the main thing for these is making like pearl drops, but that's not the only thing that you can do with them. So we'll start with just doing some pearls. I'll bring in some cards that I have made recently and could use some finishing touches. This is actually from a card class. So it is a good idea to take a piece of scrap paper, which you never quite have and just make sure that there's no air bubble at the top there. And so here's one idea, is just to embellish your cards. Hopefully you can see that there. I'll just do one larger drop. And just to show you, you can do different sizes. Couple little sizes on each one side, large one in the center, and a couple small drops on the side. Now when you first pick up your bottle away from the drop, you end up with, it looks like a little Dairy Queen curl on it, but that will settle down. So you can see there where I've got the little pearl drops, and I'll hold it sideways. If you can see, there's quite a bit of dimension there. So you can make them stand up or as tiny as you like. So there's a few, and those are quite iridescent. Now I chose a light color, which may not show up, but you can see those have gone to perfectly round. Just love them. They do look like little half pearls right there on my project. Here's another card front. And so another thing you can do to decorate, make as many of the pearls on there as you like. This one, I'll do 3 in the corner. I like doing any kind of embellishment. I like it to be in odd numbers, either 1 or 3 or 5. And I'll just do some more. How about if we do some up in this corner too? So before I got into these drops, which has been several years, they're out now, I used to use those half pearls that you would buy already made, and they were self-sticking, but I was a little bit stingy with them. I didn't like to use up a whole package on just one scrapbook page or a day's worth of card making. So I was a little stingy with it. Now with a bottle, I just feel like I have hundreds of them in the bottle. So there you can use up lots. So there where I've just put a few in each corner. So that's another way that you can do those. Another thing that you can do with the drops is, I want to show you, I need something on my base here so I don't get the... So you could actually paint with them if you wanted to. Now I would need a color that's gonna show up a little bit better maybe. So if you just, this is the color that you want something, this is just on chipboard. I mean, you could actually, if you want this to be thick and dimensional, you could just fill this in the whole surface and you're gonna have this nice thick coat that looks like enamel on there. But you could actually spread it out and just paint it on there too. Now I've used one that's quite translucent, so that doesn't really make sense, does it? Okay, but what if we use something, I think the black is a little bit more opaque. And I'm not really cleaning my brush in between, so we'll see what happens. But there you could. So if you have your drops in a color that you want to add to your embellishment, you could actually just smooth them out and use them like a very thick paint as well. So that's another thing you could do with them. Also, I like to put my lids on so they can dry. Here's one where I've taken, this is a printed embellishment, and I took the ones that are opaque, so I took the Dream Drops, and I put it on and just spread it all over there, so that gives it this nice, I don't know if you can see it, kind of an iridescent shine on there. So that's another way that you could use them. If you have chipboard pieces like this where they're decorated already, you could add some dimension to them. So here where we have the center of this little flower, we can pop it up into a pearl. So just adding some easy dimension. Put a group of dimensions in there. Okay, I might have gone overboard. That's a lot of dimension, but you get the idea. You can decorate your other embellishments. So that's another thing that you could do with them. Also, get some of this out of the way here. I had something else ready. Okay, so when you're using alphabets, if you just want to decorate those, I'll add some black here. So you could just decorate your letters as well. Just so you're customizing things. Add some dimension. So there's just a little bit of decoration. You could do this on your stickers, on the thickers, or this happens to be a chipboard letter. So it's another thing you can do, add some dimension onto that. And if I have this little star, okay, so if I was putting this on a cardstock, now if I was prepared, I would have had something ready. Okay, so we'll pretend this is my project. Now, if this was on a card and I want to add an embellishment and I put this little star, see how it's hollow in the center there? You could actually fill it up. I don't know if I can do that neat enough. No, I'd have to take my time a little bit. But so you can fill it up and have that with this enamel look on it as well. And what else? So here I'll just show you some of the other cards that, actually this was from a card class recently. That one we already showed you. So on this card here, if I can get it in focus, I'm not really helping. Here's where I've put it. Just a row of them down the side. Some little dots. This one is where I kind of go overboard, but I like it. It's got a row all the way around the outside of this area of the card. Has all pearls on it. You could put some pearls decorating the hours of the clock as well. And then this is a little different. I don't know if you can see very well here, but I actually put them all over the background. So there's a little grouping of three. Little grouping of 3 dots. Little grouping of 3 dots. So I have just these little groups of 3 polka dots all over, including here, including on the embellishments. So that's kind of fun too. If I can pull it up on something, I'll go back to this with black, just so you can see what I mean when I'm having this little grouping of 3 dots. So this is what I'm doing. You can see the little 3 dots on there. And then I do that all over the background. And I'm just making, these are just tiny. There's just barely any coming out because I'm putting so many dots that I'm just having them really small. So that can be something to just embellish a card, a paper that just needs a little pop on it. Gives you a slight little bit of dimension, but not very much. And they're fun to do because they're just fun. So there you go, some different ideas to try out the Nuvo Drops. So I hope you give that a try. And one last thing I wanted to show you, I actually saw somebody else do this. It wasn't my idea, but is to make some eyeballs. And with Halloween coming up, imagine how great this would be with the glow-in-the-dark Nuvo Drops. So I start off with some white dots there. I made them pretty large. You can make them, you know, whatever size you want. Those are pretty big. And then I'm just going to put some pupils in the middle of them. So there's my 3D eyeballs. Now imagine that with glow in the dark and just some black pupils in there. Pretty cool for your Halloween projects, eh? So that's my last little tip today. Here's looking at you with Crystal Nuvo Drops.